first case, right, is very simple, very short, right, but it will clearly indicate what is peculiar in what this patient's saying, right? Now, basically, I'm going to tell you a story about her, and then you have to work out what is like usual in this story that she's actually telling you. That's the basic premise of working out how you're going to work out what the constitutional remedy is. So it has to be peculiar to your sensibilities in what she says. But you have to go back to the repertory and you've got to start thinking in terms of rubrics as to what you would pick to work out this case. Right? So it has to be worked out entirely by rubrics, according to what is peculiar or out of proportion in what she says, which I will tell you in the first case, and then we'll work it out. All right, now, you've got your notes, okay? So this patient's story is this, okay? Her parents get divorced. This is her history, right? When she's 7 years old. Her stepfather was extremely violent, and we're talking incredibly violent. Alcoholic, and he was physically violent, mentally and emotionally violent towards her. Okay? Now, she comes to see me for the first consultation because she is suffering from voices that she hears. Now, they're not internal voices. They're not where you've got an intuition happening and you're listening to an internal, where you go, ah, and you hear something inside of yourself that you click into. This is a psychosis case. This is where she's actually listening to external voices. And the external voices are so loud that she can't hear anything. Right? So she's learned how to lip read to be able to compensate for the fact that she can't hear anything. So she's a lecturer and a teacher. And so what she's being told essentially is, I'm dirty, you are dirty, right? You're a horrible person. She'll tell you what she's heard, right? So now, let's go back to her history. So when she was 8 years old, she was home alone, and then one of those LOL salesmen who used to sell soft drink from door to door came to the door, and he talked his way in, right? And he abused her sexually. So that's her history, right? Then there's a court case when she's a child, so we're talking 8 years of age, and she gets exposed at court, right, where she gets, like, the prosecutor, right, and the defence lawyer, right, there's no protection of her. The defence lawyer goes, well, you let him in, you did this, you did that, you're really dirty, you're not very good little girl, and it was all your fault. Okay? So, then she gets exposed and shunned at school, and she's exposed and shunned by her mother, her father, her brothers, and her stepfather. And no one would talk to her about it at all. Then it gets completely suppressed. Nobody says anything. Nobody says anything at school. None of her friends talk about it. Nothing, right? Then when she's 8 years of age, her mother says to her, you better watch what you're eating, Missy, because then you'll become a fatty, right? And then she stops eating. And she says, I nearly succeeded until death. And it was only a teacher pointing out to my mother at school how thin I was because her mother didn't notice. Okay? She was then hospitalised because of the extreme anorexia. She literally stopped eating. Then she did shock treatment in hospital for 5 months when she was 14 years of age. After the first round of shock treatment, she started hearing voices. I blanked out and lost consciousness, and when I woke up I had these voices with me and they've never gone away. She's taken all of the psychotic drugs that you would normally give somebody who was suffering from psychosis or schizophrenia, and none of them have worked whatsoever. The voices would come anytime during the day or night, and they would tell me I was bad, dirty, horrible, worthless, and that I would never amount to anything. They were very negative. I've tried everything to get rid of them. I would even bang my head against the wall until I knocked myself out. I feel detached. I'm not from this planet. I've always felt like I might be an angel, and I'm here to help others. Okay? That's what she says. Now,
how old is she?
She is now
Just roughly.
about 38. Yep. Alright. Now, basically, right, we've got here, psychologically, if you were to analyse this case, we've got several stages, right? One is, she says, I might be an angel and I'm here to help others. Okay? This is in extreme contrast to the fact that she's obviously dealing with an intense mental emotional disease. Like she's actually got, on a day-to-day basis, right, for hours on end, these voices that she actually hears outside of her own head telling her that she's dirty. But she says, I'm this angel and I'm here to help people. Okay? Now, that, when somebody does that, there is immediately denial. Okay? Because there's an obvious conflict going on between the severity of the pathology and how special she thinks she is. Okay? Now, if someone has got denial going on and they say that I might be an angel, I'm here to help others, that is psychologically what you would fit into a delusion of grandeur. Right? Now, in the radar system, I've taken all of the delusions of grandeur and allocated them to a set of rubrics. And all of the delusions of grandeur are, I'm a great person, I'm in communication with God, I think I am God, I can hear God, I can hear voices, right? I think I'm an angel, etc. All of those are delusions of grandeur.